Hey, good evening, everybody. On this finally Friday, it is Chris Allen here with your 270 weather for this January the 30th. Weather for the 270 area code and beyond. Thank you for watching, tuning in tonight. It's been a little, well, it's been chilly, it's been a little snowy, it's been even a little sun came out for a while. It's been just a little hodgepodge of different things going on today, depending on where you are and or where you were at the time. It was like, cloud cover, then a little sun tried to break through, then all of a sudden it started snowing. And I know everybody was like, "Oh, what is happening? What is happening? Is this supposed to happen today? This kind of snow?" And but then all of a sudden it's gone. And it really didn't produce much in the way of snow. Thankfully, we didn't need anything else. And right when we're trying to get rid of the ice and snow, then it was kind of like, oh, look, here, what's happening here? But it was one of those little systems that came through and really didn't produce much of anything. I know that for a little while, it was looking like, is this going to be a big deal? Nope, it's already gone. Now the bigger deal is what's brewing down to the southeast of us with a much bigger winter storm. And this system that came through today, which you're looking at on radar, right now it's 7:24 in the PM Central Time on this Friday night. And those are the leftovers of what we had come through earlier today. It's just all it is. It's just a little weak system here. I'll put it into motion for you so you can see how that's progressing off to the east. And there you go, all the blue shaded areas. That's some light snow. And you can see that with the temperatures in the 20s, some parts of southeastern Kentucky is getting in on some little bit better snow than what we received here in Bowling Green. In fact, this storm is going to become part of the bigger storm that is going to really bring a lot of snow to places like Bristol, Tennessee, down to Asheville, North Carolina, Greensboro, Lynchburg, Virginia. I mean, Raleigh, Durham. I mean, this is going to be an incredibly big system. And these are the folks that missed out on some of the activity we had last week. I'm just taking off some of these temperatures where we can see it. Here is our bigger storm getting organized here. Really, this is just the teaser, if you will, of what's coming for the parts of the Carolinas and Georgia, even up through the Virginias. And eventually, as you can see, this thing is going to go up through Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, New York City, Boston, and into New England. Now, these are all kinds of, look at this, storm warnings, gale warnings because of the wind. Yeah, they just keep on. They're posting all kinds of stuff here along the Atlantic seaboard. Look at this. Hurricane force wind warning. Now, what in the world? Now, what this is, and this is this is up there like when you're going up into the mid-Atlantic. And it's saying that offshore there's going to be some big waves. There's going to be incredibly strong winds. In fact, as it says here, hurricane force wind warning for tonight and into Saturday, then into Sunday, winds at 50 to 65 knots. Well, that's a lot. I mean, yeah, it's like hurricane force. It's like 74 plus, 75 plus miles per hour. So when this system really is at its biggest and probably deepest, it's going to be out here over the Atlantic, and then it's going to go up, just kind of skim the Carolinas and get up in toward Virginia Beach and then on up to New York City, Manhattan, into New England. I mean, it's really going to be a big storm. You're going to be hearing a lot about this over this weekend and probably the beginning of next week, but it's not affecting us in the 270. So I just wanted to make that clear, but I wanted to point out to you that we're right here, Bowling Green in southern Kentucky. This little thing that came through today and produced the snow flurries, light snow showers, it's now moving into far eastern Kentucky, northeastern Tennessee, but this is where you've got winter storm warnings and a cold weather advisory going on. If you're, planning to go somewhere east from us, you may want to check your plans. The winter storm warning there in places like, let's see, this is in parts of Tennessee, eastern Tennessee, into the Carolinas. Heavy snow expected. Total snow accumulations between 4 and 8 inches, but locally higher amounts up to a foot. Does that sound familiar? Isn't that what we were looking at just last weekend? And thankfully, we didn't get that much in the way of snow, but now those folks are expecting that. And it's just this is only getting started. So I wanted you to know that because you know how things get blown up on social media. I know, I harp on that a lot, but I have a lot of people that occasionally come to me and they'll say, Chris, why aren't you talking about this big storm? Because the social media and the interwebs, the interwebs are saying that, oh, here comes another big winter storm and it's going to affect us just like the last. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Where did you come up with that? It's not here. Okay, it's not here. It's not even close to us. What we got today was part of a little upper wave that came through, had enough moisture with it to produce a few snow flurries, and now it's gone. And it's gone. So, yeah. So that's the deal on that, because I want you just to be educated and know that, look, you can tell other people that are talking about this that it has nothing to do with us in the 270. All right. How about we check some weather cameras? Here's one up here in Litchfield. Now, Litchfield, you got a little bit of snow today. I was watching this as the cameras were showing really low visibility, and everything was nice and gray, and then you could see just off in the distance here from this view the snow coming down, but we're not seeing it now. Your temperature is at 20 degrees, and you have a northeast wind at 7 miles per hour. So it's going to be a very cold night, and not only Litchfield, but other locations as well, as you'll soon see. We're looking at maybe getting down to the single digits, maybe up there in Litchfield and Grayson County. It's a possibility. Let's go west and check Gage, Kentucky. You guys picked up a little snow today, but you've got snow and ice still on the ground from this past weekend. You can see looks like some high clouds right now. You're mostly cloudy there in Gage, Kentucky, far western Kentucky. Let's go up to Louisville, check a camera there. This would be, this would be downtown Louisville. And there you see the low clouds, and you guys picked up a little bit of that light snow today, but as you can see, the live camera there at 7:32 p.m. It would be 8:32 your time because you're on Eastern time in Louisville, but as you see, everything looks very nice there. Now, we go down into Tennessee, and we know that there's still some issues with the ice storm, effects of the ice storm there. This is Fairview, Tennessee. I want you to look And this is on the side of someone's home. I've seen this camera before. You're looking off to the south and east, but you can see, look at the sheets of ice and look at those icicles hanging off the roof next to the camera where it's 24 degrees and a light wind. But look at that. Isn't that crazy? And here's the thing. You see a lot of the trees that are hanging around here, but what you don't see are trees that are broken and fallen, that of course has taken out a lot of trees, taken out, and it's taken out power. Nashville, Davidson County starting to come back from the power outages. There's still about 50,000 plus that are without power, but things are starting to get back as far as power. But as far as normal, no. I mean, it still looks like a tornado, or as some people would say, a bomb went off or whatever. In the Nashville metropolitan area, it is just awful. And there's still folks, as I mentioned, without power. It's just crazy, crazy, crazy. Most of everybody around here, their power has been restored. I think we're less than 300 now. I mean, we're almost there. We're almost there to the to getting all the power back on. I'll show you that in just a moment. Here's a look at the cold weather advisory that's out starting at 9 p.m. this evening. So in a couple of hours here, this goes into effect. And it's going to be in effect through noon tomorrow. Now, some of you are still not familiar with what a cold weather advisory is. And really, what it means is you're going to get some extremely cold wind chills, some single-digit low temperatures tonight. But the wind chills could be as low as 10, 11, 12 degrees below zero. Yeah, tonight. And if you're not, layered up and you have your extremities covered, your hands, your nose, your face, ears, then you could suffer from hypothermia if you stay outside too long. So you just need to make sure that you have appropriate clothing on and you're just not going out in your shorts and a t-shirt and thinking, okay, I'm just going to be out for a few minutes to take the dog for a walk, and I just don't need all that coat and hat and gloves. And tonight you will. Don't try to go venture out like that without those things on. I mean, let's see. Let's put the temperatures back on. I'll show you the temperatures. Okay. So right now in Bowling Green, it's 24 degrees. And back to the west, we have some teens that are already showing up. But let's go from showing you the current temperature to the winds. Okay, there we go. Wind speed. Okay, this is the wind speed. So look, we've got 21 degree temperature, winds 6 miles per hour. Then you've got a little bit more of a breeze back here in western Kentucky, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Those winds are still going to be breezy overnight tonight and during the day tomorrow, and that's going to make for the bitter, bitter, bitter wind chills that could feel like they're near zero or below zero. Let's go to the Kentucky Mesonet, and I can show you that maybe a little better. So here are the currents, and you can see that here in Bowling Green, we've got 20, that's 24 at the Corvette Museum, but it's 21 down at the Ag Expo Center. But now let's put in that wind, 24, 21, let's say 21 to 24 degrees. We put in the winds that are from the north, a little northwest at, we'll say around 10. In fact, let's go to the gusts, which are anywhere from 10 to 13. So how does that really feel? Well, let's check the wind chill. And so that makes it feel like it's anywhere from 11 to 17 degrees against your body. So it shaves off that much from the actual thermometer temperature. You can't always go by just looking at your thermometer. You can look at that in the wintertime and it says, oh, look, it's 21 degrees. But then you factor in the wind and you have to recalculate what it feels like. So to your body, it feels like it's 11, 12, 9. I mean, look at Russellville wind chill factor of 9 right now. And these are going to keep going down overnight, not just in the single digits, but around zero and even below zero by about 10 to 12 degrees. That's pretty darn cold. So the warmest temperature we had today everywhere was upper 20s. The high temperature here at the Bowling Green Airport was 30. We hit 30 today, which is 17 degrees colder than the normal high of 47. And our low today was 24 officially at the Bowling Green Airport. Any of that precipitation do anything for the numbers today? Not much. Once you melt all that light snow down to the water equivalent, we're talking about 200ths, 300ths of an inch, hardly that much. Even in Bowling Green, we didn't get enough to register. It was just not a lot. Very little, very little. So that's, and actually I'm glad. I really didn't think we would get much more in the way of accumulation, but it was just enough for a short amount of time to cause a little coating on the roads, but that's gone. That's all gone. But now you're still left with the snow and ice from last weekend because it's not gone. My driveway, it's still covered. I mean, it's crazy. Still covered. I'm like, it needs to go away already. But as you'll soon see, we may have to wait until sometime in the middle of next week before we can get above like 40. If we could get above 40 degrees, even upper 30s to low 40s, we could really get rid of a lot of the snow and ice that's out there, except for those big piles that the front loaders have scooped up and piled up. You know, you go to Walmart or you go to some of these big stores where they've tried to clear the parking lot. Now, those big mountains of snow and ice, even if it got into the 50s and 60s, would not go away for a long time. It will take weeks. Really, it'll take weeks to get rid of those huge piles of snow and ice that you see standing now in parking lots around the area. So, I know it's crazy. Look, here's a comment from Danny. This week has been the longest month ever. Amen. If it has, it's felt like just this week feels like a month. He goes, I'm over this crap. Give me 90s poolside. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it does feel that way, right? All right, here we go. Let's get into the maps. Here's our little upper wave moving through into parts of far eastern Kentucky, the Virginias, down into East Tennessee. Leftover snowflakes here, not a big deal. But this upper wave, you can see it marked here by what looks like the middle of highway lines, yellow lines, broken yellow lines. This is what's going to meet up with the big storm that is brewing now over the southeast. And once this goes out into the Atlantic, then it's going to become a very powerful storm. It's not there yet, but it's just now getting underway. We here in Bowling Green and the 270, that storm is not going to affect us at all. But look back to the north and west. Here comes another little upper wave, a little disturbance with some light snow associated with it. Now, some of this We might get tomorrow, as we go through the day on Saturday, with very cold Arctic high pressure behind it. And some of the coldest air that we're going to feel over the next few days will come tomorrow and Sunday. You can see that even with that, there will be some, there, really, there's just going to be flyby flurries. That's what I like to call them, flyby flurries. They don't last. Occasionally, you might even see the sun come out a little bit, and then the clouds come back, and then it snows a little. Flurries, they just fly by. Not a big deal. They don't really stick. They don't really cause any accumulation or big issues. That's what we're going to have, kind of at various times tomorrow and Sunday. But then look at this. This is tomorrow morning. Now you can see how the storm is coming together for parts of the Virginias and the Carolinas and down into Georgia. When this low goes out into the Atlantic, it is going to deepen rapidly. Now, you may have heard on weather networks and the news networks that this is going to be called a bomb cyclone. Ooh. They happen often, and they've always kind of been called a bomb cyclone. But I know it's a kind of a scary term that people, when they hear it, go, a bomb cyclone. Well, the reason why it's called that is because when you have a deep enough, and I knew it was going to reset on me there, when you have a deep enough low pressure and it starts to deepen and deepen and deepen, in fact, if it deepens 24 millibar within 24 hours, then it's called bombogenesis. That's a $5 word for a low pressure system that strengthens by a drop of 24 millibars in 24 hours. I don't know who came up with that, but it's called bombogenesis. In other words, it is a low pressure system that is strengthening so rapidly that it just becomes this really huge storm. And yes, when you hear the word cyclone, you think hurricane. Well, the winds with some of this, as I showed you at the very beginning, some of the winds with this storm, especially offshore, could reach near level 1 or category 1 hurricane strength. Not kidding about that. So as this strengthens, so does the storm. Heavy, heavy snow in the Carolinas, and then eventually on up toward Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City. In fact, we'll just push this ahead, and you can see how this is tightening up. Here we are into Saturday evening. We go into Sunday. Look at this thing. Now, you see the tight lines? Look at the winds. That's winds that are picking up. And look, right along the mid-Atlantic seaboard, down to the coastal Carolinas. Some pretty heavy snow. And then this thing's just going to go on. It goes way out to sea. Now, there was some worry that this could become a nor'easter, which is a pretty rough storm for the Northeast. It is going to be, in a sense, that, but it does look like now that that low pressure system is going to go out, way out in the Atlantic. It's still going to bring a lot of wind and high surf and rising tides and things like that to the Atlantic seaboard. But as I mentioned before, this thing is not going to affect us. So you can dispel all the rumors. If somebody say, hey, I heard about this bomb cyclone and we're going to get this another big winter storm and all that, you can say, nope, that's not us. Some other part of the country is going to get that. It's not us. Thank the Lord. All right, here we go. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., you may see a flurry or two flying around. As you can see here by noon tomorrow, yeah, we have another little piece of energy coming through that could produce just some flurries. By 6 p.m. tomorrow evening, those flurries will be moved into eastern Kentucky. And then we get into Sunday morning. The first day of February, by the way, is Sunday. Here's 6 a.m., pretty quiet, a few clouds around, cold. High pressure is going to dominate our forecast as we head into Sunday evening and into early morning. Look at this. This is a warm front. Well, what do you say? A warm front. Yeah, because high pressure will move east. We'll get a return flow from out of the south and southwest, and that's going to help us warm up. And it's Groundhog Day on Monday. I don't care what Punxsutawney Phil or any of these other overgrown varmints predict. I am predicting, and I'm a little overgrown as well, and I had the teeth to go with it. I am predicting that it's going to get warmer. So there's my prediction. So you little punk satanis, you can have your gimmicks and go with your forecast, but my forecast says it's going to get warmer. Okay, Tuesday morning. Here comes another disturbance. This one carries a little snow with it on the northern edge. But look, most of this is rain. Why? Because it's going to be warm enough to be rain. Now, here in southern Kentucky, low pressure system looks like it's going to come right across the area. Far enough to the north, that's key. Far enough to the north to keep us all rain. There may be some of you to the north, like up around, say, E-Town, maybe up toward Radcliffe, Fort Knox, on up to Metro Louisville, Frankfort, Lexington. You may get a little mixy stuff on Wednesday morning when this low pressure system comes in, but down here, I think pretty much most of the 270 and into the 615 will be rain because we're going to be in the 40s. Now, once this system departs, as we head into Wednesday night and early Thursday, there might be a little mix, something on the backside, but I think most of the moisture will be gone by then. And yeah, we do cool back down. I mean, for a short time, but not as cold as it is right now. This is next Thursday morning, and here's next Friday morning. And look, another warm front. What? How about that? Now, this is a good sign. If we can keep these warm fronts coming in and that warmer flow of air coming in, mainly from the south and southwest, then for at least, it's going to take several days with as much stuff as we've got out there still frozen. It's going to take probably a good 4, 5, maybe 6 days of above normal, or above, I should say above freezing, which is 32 degrees, above that number. If we can keep it consistent, then the snow and ice will eventually go away. I mean, it's going to go away anyway. But if we can keep this kind of a pattern up, then it's going to go away by the end of next week. Yeah, it may take till the end of next week. So I know that's not what you want to hear, but it's, we just keep getting these cold snaps in between systems, and that's prevented us from getting a lot of melting. We've had a little bit, but not enough. All right, here's a look at the European. Just by comparison, we see the big dip in the jet stream. We see the rain snow line. Look at this thing going all the way down into Louisiana, the panhandle of Florida. Boy, that's some cold air going way far to the south. Whew. Yeah, the folks in Florida, they're going to be, oh my goodness, it's going to drop into the 50s they're going to have to get some big winter coats in Florida. There could be some northern panhandle of Florida that drop into the 40s, maybe even upper 30s. Yeah, it's a rare thing. I mean, it's happened before, but it's going to be quite cold. Now, here's the snow getting developed and underway as our low pressure system makes its way out into the Atlantic and throwing that moisture back into the cold air. So as that happens, that moisture comes in, hits that cold air, and it's snow. So it's going to be snow southeastern Kentucky where the winter storm warnings are already in effect, parts of the Carolinas, the Virginias, northern Georgia. That's where that deep cold air that's sitting over us right now, as you can see, is going to continue to push in that direction. So when the low goes out over the Atlantic, it's going to throw that moisture back. And that's why they're calling for some heavy snow. But for us, I mean, we're going to be too far removed from this storm. So it's not going to get us. It's not going to affect us. There may be a little bit of a breeze tomorrow that you will feel as a residual of that system, but that's about it. So let's go into the rest of your Saturday, then into Sunday. Boy, I mean, look at this thing. It just continues to rock. 992 millibar on Sunday. 986. What? 978. Oh, wow. Look at this. Look at this thing. Look at how tight those isobars are. There's your bombogenesis or the bomb cyclone. And this is where you're going to start getting along the mid-Atlantic coast down to the Carolina coast. This is where you're going to get some of those winds offshore that could reach really near hurricane strength. And where it snows, it's going to be blizzard-like conditions as that system just really incredibly grows strong very quickly. 974, 975, 974. I mean, this thing is still cranking out in the Atlantic, but look, everything starts to quickly move away. This is Sunday. Thank goodness that thing doesn't linger over the East Coast, or there would be some major problems. It's going to be bad enough, the wind. Some of where the snow comes in is going to be blizzard-like conditions, high tides and high seas. Yeah, that's going to happen. But it's not going to be quite as impactful as it could have been if it just had shifted a little further west. Here is our deep pocket of cold air that goes, look at all this, into central Florida now on Sunday afternoon. And then we have the big ridging, the really warm air that's over the west. So we will be divided pretty much in half from the very cold air to the really warm air out west. Let's go through the rest of your Sunday into Monday. Now we start to see some warmer air trying to work its way in. Look at the rain snow line right there. And look at how the warmer air is trying to punch in. And it will. I mean, it's eventually going to warm up a little bit more as we head into the beginning and the middle of next week. Here we go into Tuesday. Into Wednesday. Okay, that's as far as that one goes. Let me load the last run before this one. And we can see that, yeah, there's a little something right there. This would be Tuesday, but it looks far enough to the north to to stay away from the southern half of Kentucky, where we will be in the warmer sector. So as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to stay mainly rain. Now, again, we're going to be kind of on the fence as we normally are. And this is wanting to show what could be a little mix of light snow across southern Kentucky over to light rain into middle Tennessee. This is on Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. So the European model is saying that we could have a little better chance of getting some light snow, maybe mixed with rain. But we're looking at Wednesday. We're looking at late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. And a lot can change between now and then. But with that being kind of on the fence like we are sometimes, that means there's not a lot of moisture going to come with it or any kind of a big deal. So the cold air reestablishes itself. You can see the big dive here, big trough coming back on Wednesday afternoon and evening into Thursday of next week. Still cold, chilly. We'll call it chilly. Then, as we head into next Friday, a week from today, look at this. Look at this. Oh, well, all right. Then you've got a deep low pressure system over the Great Lakes. That's going to send a cold front right through here. But we've got some warmer air out of ahead of that. How long is it going to stick around? Well, let's see. This is next Friday. Let's go into next Friday night around this time. And the low stays far enough north to where I don't think we'll have to worry too much about getting cold enough for a lot of snow, because we're right there again. Going to be on the edge of the cold versus the warm. So see why sometimes it's so hard to actually pin down a forecast for us. We always seem to be right there, except for last weekend when we weren't right there. Rare exceptions. Here's next Saturday into Sunday. Everything I don't see any big changes. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And as you look at the model blender, you can see that the next couple of days, we're going to go from highs in the 20s and lows in the single digits and teens. And then we're going to climb pretty well starting Monday, maybe 40. But look at that 47 for Tuesday. Now that, if we could just have that kind of consistency, maybe carried out for a couple of more days after that, then we would completely get rid of the snow and ice that's out there. Now, we will get a lot of melting Monday and Tuesday, and some of it will be rain washed because we'll get some rain. That will help. But I'm telling you, once some of the snow and ice begins to melt, there's going to be a lot of water everywhere. But look, we go from 47 Tuesday to 36. An 11-degree drop in temperature, and then overnight lows are going to be back below freezing and even dropping into the teens by next Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and highs only, low 30s to maybe mid 30s. We warm it up one day on Friday, a week from today, and then it cools back down into the 30s. It's this inconsistency, and it's this down and up and down and up and down. That's what's killing us right now. That's what makes it so hard to predict exactly how things are going to turn out. It's just so inconsistent. Hey, Chris, your image is blocking the low. Chad, hey. Oh, I am so sorry. about that. Let me go back. Chad. Okay, just for Chad. And for those of you who couldn't see this because of my big old head. All right. Oops. Hang on. Hang on just a minute. Now, okay. So you see the low over here. Yeah, I know some of you don't are like, are you really going to go back and no, not all the way. I'm just going to show. There's the low. Look at that. Monster low offshore. Big storm. But notice the really, really rough stuff. If it were like, I don't know, what, 100 miles west, this would be a huge deal. But really, the East Coast is only going to get a glancing blow from that storm. And then it's out of here pretty quickly. Okay. One of these days I'm gonna have this thing set up where I'm not gonna be in anybody's way. I'll just take my picture off. How about I do that? Nobody wants to. Okay. All right. Now I'm back. So there you go. Here's something I wanted to show you. How much progress has been made with the power outages? Now, as you know, in Kentucky, we had some very harsh effects from the ice from this past weekend. But look how much progress has been made. I can still remember just a few days ago, this power outage map was showing all kinds of different colors. And the power outages were in the thousands, couple of thousand, 3, 4, 5,000 without power. And especially over in Allen County and Monroe County, right along the Tennessee border. But look at it right now. This is a new updated outage map. And look, I mean, we're talking about Allen County only showing 113 without power. Barron County, 100. Monroe County, 250, is it 216? That's it. I mean, most everybody's power has been restored except for just a few exceptions in those worst hit areas in Kentucky. And as I mentioned earlier, yeah, it's down to less than 50,000 now in Nashville, Middle Tennessee. That's incredible work in just a matter of days. So, you power companies and you guys and gals have been out there in the trucks and on the power poles and having to reset poles and rerun lines and get trees out of the way, your tree cutters and trimmers, taking care of all that. I mean, what an exceptional job. And the road crews too, who have been working to clear the roads. You guys have been exceptional as well. Now unfortunately, you've had a lot of thick ice to deal with, and there hasn't been a lot of melting going on. So it's even been hard to scrape this stuff off the roads. But wow. I mean, the crews have been incredible. And I know some of you are still like, I still don't have my power on. I know. But look at how much improvement has been made. And that is just extraordinary. So, yeah, I'm giving them a shout out. I think they deserve it. Would any of you climb a pole to fix the electricity, run new wire, set all that stuff up again? Would you? Would you do that? Most of us would say no. But there's a few people that have that calling and they can't wait. They don't want anybody to be without power, but they cannot wait to climb that pole, get up there, restring the lines, put up a new transformer, do whatever's got to be done. And yeah, we salute you. And here's Lori. You can see her comment down here. Very thankful for the road crews and the linemen. They're awesome. And Barbara's saying there's still a lot of trees down on some of the back roads. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's still a lot of snow and ice on some back roads. But again, this is where we have to exercise patience and just be willing to stay out of their way so they can get everything done that needs to get done. But what an incredible change from last week to now. All right, I'm just going through some of your comments. Here's Sandra from Horse Cave. Thanks for chiming in and saying hello. Here's Steve. Thankful for the warmer air coming in next week. Me too. Here, now I'm not sure what this is about. So this is from Danny. Says Brad Garman. I feel like it's the 90s and I'm subscribed to the Columbia House music deal where if you don't send the card back, they send you the CD and charge you for it. And yes, like me, many of you still owe them money at Columbia House. Did I say that out loud? I'm in trouble. Ooh. And here's Donna. Donna is looking and sounding optimistic, and I like it, Donna. I love it. 6 weeks until spring. Woohoo! So thank you, Donna, giving us that little bit of hope we can hang on to. Ugh, my goodness. I know. Here's Donna. Thanks, Chris, for staying with the last 2 weeks, getting us prepared and through the storm. We appreciate you. Well, thank you, Donna. Oh, my goodness, you're just giving us all kinds of positive vibes tonight. Here's Brad. Sign me up for spring. I'm over winter. Me too. Whoo. Yeah. Paula, National Weather Service saying ice next week. Well, they're probably looking at that part of Wednesday into Thursday when, as I showed you, north of us, there could be that little bit of a mix, but it stays mostly rain. Down here in southern Kentucky, that's what they're referring to. Ice here, probably not. Not with the temperatures I'm seeing. So it all depends on where you are. Here is Sarah. That old groundhog better not see its shadow first month. I'm ready for warmer temperatures. Me too. Me too. So if Punxsutawney Phil or whatever varmint you follow, there are others in the South. I think there's General Beauregard Lee is the name of the groundhog in Georgia. And there's a couple of others in other states. But of course, we all know Punxsutawney Phil is the one that gets all the, Groundhog Day, the movie, Bill Murray and all that. And that's the main one. And if he sees a shadow, that means 6 more weeks of winter. And I know you think it should be the opposite because if he sees a shadow, that means the sun is out and we should be ready for spring. But actually, the opposite is true. So, to save all the confusion, I'm just saying, how about we not pay attention to that crazy little varmint, groundhog? What does he know? But anyway, so there you go. Let's see. I'll check a few more comments here. Lori, thankful for you too, Chris, always keeping us updated with, well, thank you. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate everybody. Here's one more. This is Allie Saw. The electric companies and road crews did an excellent job with what they had to work with. Boy, that's true. I mean, with the snow and ice, but then you think about our roads around here are kind of crazy. If you haven't noticed, they're not all in a straight line. You got curves, you got hills up and down, and you've got these breakneck, hard turns, dog leg kind of stuff. And then you've got sometimes creek beds running through the roads and this and then you get the lines, the electrical lines and poles that are running out in the middle of fields or the woods. And they have to try to get their trucks back there in those places to reset poles and lines, and then get stuck in the mud or stuck in the snow and ice, and there's a whole new problem. But that's what they're trained to do, and by George, they know how to do it. And like I said, I'm glad it's not me, because I would not get it right. I would mess it up big time. All right. That's it for this Friday night. Thank you all for watching as always. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you back here probably tomorrow evening with an update. In the meantime, thank you for watching 270 Weather. And God bless you, and I'll see you next time.